Alex. How are you?
I'm doing great, Dr. Trisha. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How's your summer going so far?
Summer has been so stressful. It's just work and then bill related adulting stuff, I'm just
Okay.
overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. Okay. So I'm hearing adulting, overwhelmed, and just a lot of stuff that you have to handle or juggle in once.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So before we get started, before we reflect more on that, I just want to go over some of our policies that we have here at Good Days. So one thing that we do stress and one thing that we do emphasize is confidentiality.
Mhm.
So confidentiality consists of our sessions being individually together. However, I am required to report any matters of self-harm or harm to others. As a mandate reporter, I am required to report those things. However, anything that's said in our sessions only will be advised by upper management, which is my supervisor, and that is to give you better guidance to ensure that we are giving you the proper services that you need. Do you have any comments or questions about that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So, policies that we do tend to emphasize here at Good Days is our informed consent forms. So that informed consent form basically goes over that if we have to release any information, that we have your permission and that it's okay for any type of medications or any other beneficial services that you may need. We want to make sure we have your consent to sign off on those. So we'll go over more of those after the session.
All right. Sounds great.
Gotcha. Okay. So just picking back what you had mentioned, you had said, adulting, you mentioned, going through a lot of stuff in, bills and things of that nature. Just out of curiosity, is that what brings you in today?
Yes, it's just I'm having a hard time socializing. I'm having a hard time being around people. I just lack of motivation. I just don't feel like hanging out with my family. I don't feel like hanging out with my friends. I used to be all outgoing and now I just lack of motivation to anything.
Okay, so you said lack of motivation to anything, not hanging out with your friends as often, not hanging out with family as often as you do.
Yeah.
Those are some of the things that are kind of occurring at the moment.
Yes, and it makes me every time I go anywhere, I feel sad all of a sudden, like out of nowhere. And then that's why I like to stay in my room at this point because I'm just overwhelmed with life and I'm just overwhelmed with just everything around me.
Okay. So when you're in that headspace where you're overwhelmed and you're by yourself, how would you, from a scale to 1 to 10, how would you rate it?
I would say at least two.
At least
Two.
two.
Yes.
So two being very low.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And in that moment when you're in that headspace, what's going on?
Um, I usually just listen to my music, but I just I keep thinking about how much I have to do, like pay this, pay that. Oh my goodness, like so much going on, and also it might add up with fighting it with my significant other. And that even makes it worse because I feel hopeless. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. So hearing what you said, you're in that headspace, like you said, you have a lot that's going on personally, what it sounds like personally with your personal relationship, and then if I hear this correctly, correct me if I'm wrong. Did I hear like financial? You mentioned something about
Oh
bills.
yes, financial for sure.
Okay, so on a physical sense, how do you feel physically when you're in that headspace? So when you're isolated and by yourself.
Um, I would say at least 2 to 3 because I would love to work out, but at the same time, I just don't have the energy to get up. I
Mm-hmm.
just wanna. um, just go to sleep and forget what I have to do to numb it. And yes, I would cry, but at the same time, it's just overwhelming.
Okay, so I'm hearing overwhelming. You said, like you mentioned, lack of the motivation. And if I heard you say before that you said there was a period of time that you were interacting with friends, you were interacting with family, I would assume you were interacting with your partner as well.
Yes.
So during that time, what was the feelings? What makes that time different from now to then?
Like now, I was for some reason I used to have a lot of fun hanging out with my friends
Mm-hmm.
and family and my significant other, but for some reason there's I like the vibe. I feel a little bit left out in the group
Fine.
now because whenever
Okay.
I hang out with them, they used to have fun and now everything's just so different. I don't know
Yep.
because I told them the truth of who I am as a person, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So there was a reveal that you expressed to them or you told them,
Yes.
and that's what kind of led to some things.
Yeah, with either like with my family and friends, but my boyfriend is like he's still trying to help me out, but it's just hard to keep up with his energy, high energy.
High energy. Okay. Okay. So can you name or tell me some triggers that may result to that as you being like isolated to yourself and not being like social with others, your friends and your significant other? What are some triggers that you noticed or that you are aware of?
The triggers is that I feel like they are scared to be around me in public. And we used to have fun, and now they're a little bit distant
Mm-hmm.
towards me. And then they would make any kind of comments,
Mm-hmm.
like jokingly, but I did not find it funny. And so that
Mm-hmm.
makes me want to separate myself from the people that I used to hang out with.
Okay, so tell me more about those comments that they would say that would trigger you or that they thought was funny, but you didn't see it as funny.
Like for example, when they said no homo, like to every joke, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
it makes us uncomfortable. It's like why make that comment? Obviously, like
Okay, so it sounds like to me kind of homophobic, kind
y-
of derogatory. Make sure I'm characterizing that right. Kind of homophobic
yes,
terms that they would use, and that would kind of trigger you to kind of stay away or not really be social with them in that moment.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Alex, if you had to go to sleep, like you mentioned, the fact go to sleep and not really think about it. But if you did have to go to sleep and you woke up the next day and these anxieties or these thoughts or these feelings that you had about your family and your friends just magically just disappeared, how would you feel or what would it look like?
It would be like fresh air, like
Mm-hmm.
everything just off me. And I
Okay.
would feel relaxed and have the motivation of what I want to do, like going to the beach, hang out with my loved ones, and eat a healthy meal rather than not
Mm-hmm.
eating at all.
Okay, so like you said, hanging out with loved ones, eating a healthy meal, and being more physically active. Okay.
Yes.
So one thing that we do offer here at Good Days with our group sections is kind of focusing on those pin pieces
Mm-hmm.
and seeing what we can do to kind of relieve some of that anxiety that you do have. So what I'll do now is just get your general information, get a we'll continue on with an assessment next time to figure out what particular areas that we could work with and see how that works along with the group sessions. Does that sound okay?
Yes,
So you can
it
kind of start.
yes, sounds perfect. And one more thing, when do we go? I like when do we meet up? How
So
often?
as we're here at the days with our group sessions, we have them on Mondays and Wednesdays. They're from 5 to 7 because we do know a lot of people work full time. So we figured, Evening sessions may be good. From 5 to 7, and it is twice a week that we have our group sessions. And if we see that you're not interacting or you're not really feeling it with the group sessions, we'll try to coincide with you as far as individual and see what other services may be best for you.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye, hon.